Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media. Over 75,000 titles to choose from for your iPod, iPhone, or MP3 player.
And now, a word from Mr. Money in the Bank, The Miz.
You are missing one of the greatest times of all time at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm standing here with a guy, probably Mike, who has a shirt that says, "This is what awesome looks like." I beg to differ. I like to look in the mirror and think that is what awesome looks like. However, you know, some people are different. Maybe we needed your opinion. Obviously, you're not here, so, let Mike know and he'll let me know. Game over. Bye.
Wrestling Mayhem
Show.com.
It's the best day of the week. Today is the day that you have chosen to listen to the Wrestling Mayhem Show. This is DJ Lunchbox, putting it the fuck down for you. Let's fucking do this. Monday night, you know it must be raw. Leaders being a whore and not wearing a bra. Seeing his damn belt still spinning around his waist. I can shit better rhymes on what comes out of his face. Tuesday night and it's EC Dub. Michael Q Knoxville join the club. If you're sick of the shit, scream out boo boo. This ain't EC Dub and we can tell that too. Wednesday night, ROH on DVD. The best wrestling on the planet to the nth degree. Joe Damon's Delirious, Daniel City, Kid McCarthy, Homicide, the Rottweilers, and Kenta Kobashi. Thursday night, TNA on Spike. Bruce's spoken, so that means I'm puking blood tonight. Shut up and show me the damn X Division and get SoCal balance in my line of vision. Friday night SmackDown, this is all life. Kicking back, watching wrestling every night. Kenny, Boogeyman, Helms, Hardy, Guerrero, London, Kendrick, and stealing the show. RWF Scion in the weekly features. You're a student, we are the teachers. Shout outs to Jimbo's crew and to the D's, putting it down for Vimmer with the greatest of ease.
What's up, guys? Wrestling Mayhem Show 229. We got a special word at the beginning there. Joining me as always, well, it's a little bit of a mix-up this week. That's the wrong button. But
wrong button.
On the right button over there on the left, fresh from San Diego. Do you see that tan? Or is it all gone away because of the smog of New York City? Mad Mike is joining us.
Dashing Mad Mike.
Oh, no. What else did you pick up from San Diego? You did pick up a really cool voicemail there. The Miz joining us. Now, there's a little more to that. You can find that somewhere else on the internet too, right?
Yes, there is. Actually, at WWE.com, there is a video of WWE at Comic-Con, and right at the very end, like about a minute and a half into the video, you see The Miz leaving that very message on my phone.
Fantastic. If you listen to, of course, you just listen to that, you go over the video, you're going to see that. And of course, right there from a whole new angle, he's experimenting with the backdrop, is the Wrestle Fan. How you doing?
Really good. I like new angles. New angles are fun.
It actually looks like...
You know who else likes new angles, Wrestle Fan?
No.
Your mother does.
I realize that's the reason for his scenery changes. He's hoping that his mom doesn't randomly appear in the background.
Exactly.
No more cameos unless she's looking out the window. Also with us tonight, he just joined us on the Awesome Cast to school us on some photography. He joins us here on the Wrestling Mayhem Show, and he has a message for you about midget porn. Chris Maverick.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Again, we did this on the last one, but for the audio listeners, what the hell is on your t-shirt?
Okay, so my shirt actually says, "Watch midget porn, it makes you look huge."
There you go.
I think that means he's saying that Hot Wheels has a small penis.
Jeez.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and that's
no comment.
That's the kind of night we're having. Of course, we're going to be joined in a little bit. We're scheduled to be talking to Joe Dombrowski. We're going to be asking him about Resolution 3 up in Cleveland, Ohio. His working with Jim Cornette on the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and about the Dream Machine vest.
Dreamachine.
The legend, the Pittsburgh legend. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Of course, if you guys want to follow us, if you stumbled on us by accident, because that's the only way you can find us, I'm sure, WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Twitter us at Mayhem Show, where we got a link to that video we just talked about a little with The Miz on there. And, of course, you can drop a line to us at 412-206-WMS0. That is the Mayhem hotline. Put it on your phone so when you're drunk you can remember. Also, you can hit us up good times Yeah, WrestlingMayhemShow.com. And if you just want to have that in a nice handy package, if you got an iPhone, we got the iPhone app. WMS Gold, look it up on the iTunes store. It's only $1.99. You get special gold video content before and after the show, whatever extra stuff we have on there. I think we're going to have some friends dancing this week that were not in the studio. Some exciting stuff. Side note, speaking of that, go check out birdseyeview.com. Myself and the Silent Ninja are on there, talking with Hutch and Shell and whoever else happened across the studio. The Silent Ninja spoke.
Oh my god.
And it wasn't a little small voice or in a Wrestlicious rap. It was amazing. So go check that out, birdseyeview.com. I believe it's episode 93 off the top of my head, of course. And of course, I got all that stuff linked over on WrestlingMayhemShow.com. So, of course, you notice somebody's missing. DJLB is under the weather, or he got kidnapped by penguins. I'm not sure. But to clear it up, off camera is our intern to read his email. That's your cue.
Intern, that's your cue.
Oh, wait, that's me?
We'll teach her about podcasting soon enough.
Sorry. So I'm reading. I'm standing in for Will Lunchbox this week.
Yes.
Who the fuck is Will? I never know who this guy is.
Evening, folks. Papa Lunchbox here. My apologies that I cannot be there live, but I seem to have a Mongolian death worm moving about all up in me.
All up in me?
Insert WrestleFans mother jokes here.
Oh. I didn't know Mike was Mongolian.
What?
He's not Mongolian. Somebody else.
Wow. Okay. Anyways.
I'm here.
Wow.
Best
Wow,
case scenario.
WrestleFan.
I'm asleep right now. Not so good case. Throwing up something that looks like the aftermath of a Necro Butcher match.
Wow.
Half naked Mickey Rourke, maybe.
Wow.
But I wanted to leave you with a thought or two for the night. First thought of DJ Lunchbox. Seems now that Jericho is back to nipping at Cena's heels, no pun. Bourne is back to being that little guy who sells really well. I hope I'm wrong, but last night was a grim indication.
Yeah, it seemed like Bourne was getting this huge push on Raw, the past couple of weeks, and now he was kind of like a tweener, almost.
He's like a tweener.
He's part of the job squad.
Speaking of the Side-Owl boys, much love to the star-covered Mike Side-Owl. Concussions suck. Feel better soon, little guy.
Yeah, I heard that he had a few staples, and I think Grizzly Redwood, I don't know if he was in the same match, also came away with a few staples from that. We'll come back to that on the news a little bit. I think I have a few notes on that. So,
was it just me, or was Raw pretty decent last night?
No, it was just him.
Could have been me, or the NyQuil.
Oh, Lunchbox.
Fight the NyQuil.
You and your NyQuil.
Fight the NyQuil.
CMG, Stone Cold is GM, and he's joining DX. Still the 90s.
Huh.
Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
Yeah, I don't get where they're going at with this whole thing.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It was Shawn. They were in San Antonio, so there was Shawn Michaels was the thing. It's really bad. Did anybody notice last week when you could see the paper sitting on the laptop? That was pretty fantastic. Some high production.
Oh,
there.
you haven't noticed that every single week?
No, I only noticed once. I tried to look for it this week.
Yeah, I just let it slide. I'm like, all right, fine. We know the computer really doesn't work.
I think Michael Cole was the GM. He's just smart enough to realize that Michael Cole realizes that every general manager that you've ever had, every general manager, every president, is always the person who gets beat up. So what he did is he came up with this concept where, he just pretends that he's reading whatever he has to say off of the computer. That way, no one ever actually knows to come and beat him up because,
he's just reading it.
He learned a lesson from Heidenreich.
Wow, there you go. But in the meantime, we get people to boo a laptop.
Yeah. I actually heard, I think someone's cell phone went off earlier this week. I was at some place. I thought I was watching Raw for a second.
Well, that's the iPhone chime.
You know what I think it is? I think Vince McMahon just wants to turn Steve Jobs into a heel.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Nice.
If Steve Jobs was on some week. I don't think Steve Jobs is a wrestling fan. Well, he's not.
Well, he's not a wrestle fan either.
I am not Steve Jobs.
He's but you know, if he was, maybe see if there's a Twitter name out there for WrestleFan 1984.
Or how about I Wrestle Fan?
I Wrestle Fan? I Wrestle.
Oh, put I in.
fan.
Oh, no.
I fan?
Wrestle I Fan.
Okay, let's get off
Okay.
this. Some more email, please.
More email. I like the mess that is the Raw SS team. When faces fight, everybody wins. Edge and Jeratron notwithstanding.
Jeratron.
I don't
You
have...
haven't seen the expensive Jeratron.
Oh, jeez. I don't have the hatred for Sheamus that I once did. Now, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
I don't know, but I saw the...
I think that's the NyQuil.
Sheamus... yeah, it's the NyQuil. Sheamus came out for his part on Raw or whatever, and someone had the sign of... what's that one Muppet? The one with the... the slender head with the orange...
Beaker.
Beaker.
That's the Beaker must die chance they were talking about in the chat.
Makes sense now.
There we go.
Also from the chat from Riz, I Raffle Fan.
Well, something quick from Comic-Con that I learned.
Hey, still on the email over
It's on topic!
We're all about offshoots here.
It's on topic of Sheamus and his paleness.
Sheamus was at Comic-Con?
No, but
you saw a giant jar of mayonnaise?
His paleness came by itself.
I actually did see a very sexy giant jar of mayonnaise, but that's not where I'm going with this.
Whoa.
Ooh, whoa.
What does that even mean?
Wrestle fan, I'll tell you when you're older. Anyway, they debuted Sheamus's action figure, and the guys at Mattel did not physically have a color in their entire palette for Sheamus's skin color, and had to make one.
Wow.
That's dedication from the guys that made He-Man. Thank you.
He-Man.
Oh, wow.
I hate He-Man!
All right, finish that off, Missy.
That's what she said.
Oh.
That's how Dad did it.
CM Punk, get the mask back. Well, folks, that's what I got for Yins this week. If I take a turn for the worse, I want my final meal to be Jamie... Okay, how do you pronounce that?
Wait,
Jamie
Jamie
Keys?
what?
Keys. Jamie Keys? Okay, that's... Alright.
She's the NXT girl.
Oh. Okay.
I'm surprised it wasn't Awesome Kong.
That'd be a... I think with that, I'm not going to go.
I heard where you were going with that.
All right, we'll start. I want my final meal to be Jamie Keys. Have her oiled and brought to my chambers. Actually, let's do that anyway. I'm feeling better already.
There you go.
Oh, Lunchbox.
Him in his chambers.
Here's one real quick from Sean Burkhead. That came in earlier today. Good evening, WMS peeps. Just got done listening to last week's show and thought I would respond to some things. I do believe that Double J only owns about 10% of TNA. He's got to have something. He's a founder, you know. He owns stock in Panda Energy, probably. So, I agree with Mad Mike about TNA production. TNA, for the love of God, get your hand on off the Zoom button. I think it was 2 weeks ago that they had a major Zoom fit in the Jeff Hardy versus Mr. Anderson promo. I haven't noticed this.
I didn't see it either, but
I also agree that although, you know, my day work, I'm probably immune to camera gaps at this point. I also agree with TNA suffers from the shiny ball syndrome. They need to go back to what works. More in-ring action, less backstage BS. A strong women's division and X division. That's the thing, though. I think TNA doesn't know what works because their numbers haven't gone up any.
Yeah.
So they're trying anything to get a spike to, you know, no pun intended.
I think they should stop looking at their TV ratings and start looking at their pay-per-view buys.
But that's all that anybody's looked at for the past 13 years.
Yeah,
because the Monday Night Wars made it about the ratings.
The TV ratings are not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Even Raw has been fairly consistent from 3-1 to 3-6 over the past, 4 years? The TV ratings aren't going to go anywhere. It's the pay-per-view buys that they really should be looking at. Mm-hmm. When they were actually selling pay-per-views, that's when they had a lot more wrestling, a better tag team division, a more consistent storyline basis.
But isn't that all speculation?
Their ratings their pay-per-view buys are in the shitter.
Now, what is this? I keep hearing about this 8,000 buys, supposedly. Where did this come from? Because last I knew, they weren't releasing those kinds of numbers for TNA pay-per-views.
I don't know. I just heard it on the internet.
Because everything's true on the internet. No, everything regarding TNA and how many people actually watch TNA and buy pay-per-views is all speculation. I mean, I would believe we were hearing 50,000, 60,000 for numbers, but I'm not using that as a point until I see numbers from an official source on that. Lastly, TNA, stop breaking the fourth wall down. Well, I'm stepping down from my soapbox now. Have a great show. P.S. I was wondering if you guys are doing fantasy football this year. I wouldn't mind matching my wits with the WMS Nation. Mad Mike, you helmed that last week, and you got a big smile on your face. Are you going to be setting that up for us again this year?
Yes, I will be doing fantasy football again this year.
Fantastic. Hopefully we can expand our trash talking roster, because that was a great source for emails.
Oh my god, the fantasy football was so much fun, and it's only going to be better now that T.O. and Chad Ochocinco are on the same fucking team.
Fantastic. Who wants to take the next voicemail? Or fan mail?
I'll take the Riz mail, because I don't think I can take the Wolf mail, because
you're not old enough.
There's some dirty words in there.
There's a Wolf mail?
There is a Wolf mail.
Oh,
yeah,
where's
it just
the
came
Wolf
in.
mail?
It just came in.
I think.
Wolf mail. I see it.
Mike, you can take the Wolf mail, because there's some words in there I don't think I can say.
I know there are words in here you can't even say, and I haven't read it yet.
All right,
WMS.
All right, hurry up. We got a guest coming up, Riz.
WMS. Note to prospective critiquers, I love you all. Anyways, I am back from vacation, and let me say, the fact that they are hinting so much of the Miz cashing in his Money in the Bank, I began thinking and hearing out on this, that the leader of the Nexus is the Miz. Let's count the ways this is a possibility. 1, he was a pro on the first season of NXT. True. 2, his rookie, as you know, is not in Nexus anymore. Tiegate 2010. And 3, Michael Cole is calling him on all his coaching metaphors, Pete Rose, Vince Lombardi, etc. Why not have him coach the Nexus? Well, until next time, it's your suntan Superman. What? And not the Riz.
Yeah, the Not the Riz, he, apparently we had an iTunes comment from Not the Riz. So.
Okay, then.
That's interesting, because, Cole has been, up his ass, as far as supporting The Miz. And considering the NXT history, I think it's a pretty good theory.
Which is kind of stupid what Cole says about him, because not only did Miz's rookie not even win NXT, his rookie was technically the first to be eliminated.
Mm-hmm. But, that doesn't need to make sense for them to decide to do it.
Yeah.
All right, Mad Mike, go ahead and check that last one. And
Holy
remember
Christ,
our safe word.
I'm just skimming this now. Okay.
Remember our safe word. Okay, first of all, I have to mention, Mayhem Missy dropped the naughty word last week, I realized.
Yeah, she did.
So, go ahead.
We're not getting sponsors anymore.
Good evening, Wrestling Mayhem crew. It's been a while since the Wolf has been around. I want to apologize, but the computer has finally been fixed, and my love life is on an all-time high. Before I continue, I would like to say, fuck yeah, Miami. LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade on the same team.
Whatever.
Fuck the world and eat an AIDS dick, Kobe Bryant.
Nobody cares about basketball.
AIDS
that's
dick.
what you're talking about?
I'm from Cleveland, so
Oh, I'm sorry. On so many levels, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry you're from Cleveland. But let's move away from that off-topic shit and back to what I do best. Before I catch hell for this email, hear me out. This week in wrestling was great. On TNA, the ECW speech was amazing.
True.
Motor City vs. Beer Money was perfect, and Kevin Nash's anti-Jarrett promo was cool. Fuck you, Jeff. On SmackDown, the 2 out of 3 falls...
that was pretty cool, because he basically went in there and was like, Jarrett, you're a selfish prick.
Yeah.
Game over.
Turd in the punch bowl.
Turd in the punch bowl.
We're going to use that, quote from now on about anything.
Oh, Silver Fox.
On SmackDown, the 2 out of 3 falls match was great, and Kane was fucking awesome!
I didn't watch SmackDown this week yet.
I
saw his
haven't seen
speech
it
at the
either.
beginning, and that was it.
But apparently Kane was fucking awesome! On Raw, the Nexus match was good. Jericho code-breaking Cena was gold.
Mm-hmm.
Edge spearing the Great Idiot, and Alicia attacking Lily White Jillian was funny. I really had no room to talk shit and rant, but being on the internet gave me an epiphany. I understand that wrestling today is different than when we were growing up, but when did it become the norm for assholes to use terms from the wrestling business as if they work in the fucking business? But what the fuck, internet wrestling fans? Who the fuck cares about you? First of all, most of the internet do not buy tickets to WWE or buy WWE products, so fuck off!
Actually, interesting story about that. He actually is kind of right, because I am missing SmackDown in my town tonight.
You're missing
Yeah.
SmackDown to be on the Mayhem show? That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
but you go to
dedication, WrestleFan.
WWE
I will not
stuff.
make fun of your mother for 5 whole minutes.
I mean, we all go to
Yay, 5
WWE
minutes.
shows. We all go to WWE, pay-per-views and stuff. We put money in the WWE. We're fans of WWE and not just their detractors.
I actually take money from WWE.
Well, that's another case.
Okay. And the wolf goes on.
Jeez. Well, actually, while we're there, we do have a wrestler with us. Mav, what do you think about internet marks using the terminology out there?
I'm kind of torn by it.
Mm-hmm.
Back years ago, it was weird and it was bad, and you'd end up with people saying stuff that your casual wrestling fan just didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different time. It's 2010. It's not 1980 anymore, and I think it's just become part of the part of wrestling culture. I mean, Al Snow had a job squad, and that was 15 years ago. And so at this point, you can't really be mad at somebody for calling them the job squad or saying, oh, so and so jobbed out, because that's Al Snow had the job squad. The Rock used the term jabroni in every promo he did for 6 years. Going back, Edge and Christian, their gimmick was to expose the business on a weekly basis. They'd come out and they'd use terms like they'd sit down at the announce table and start saying things about being smarts or saying kayfabe you had it just became accepted. What bothers me is when people sort of go overboard, and the weird thing for me is when people will refer to wrestling characters by their real names. I've had random people in the wrestling business. I never refer to any of the other wrestlers. We just don't call each other by our real names ever. So if somebody walks up to you and says, did you see Paul Levesque on TV yesterday? And you'd be like, who the hell is Paul? I have no idea who that is. I have to go home and go to Wikipedia to find out that that's Triple H. I have no clue. And so things like that happen. And we don't even do that in wrestling. I've known Shima Zion, Super Hentai, all the guys in IWC that I trained with or under. I don't know if I know their real names, I have to think about them. I look at my cell phone, Shima Zion's in my cell phone under the name Shima Zion. That's his name to me.
The big thing,
it just wouldn't occur to me to use his real name ever.
The big thing that's destroying that for me is half the people you mentioned I have on Facebook under their real names. So it's wait, that's Shima. Oh, that's Jimmy DeMarco. That's right. The only thing that's kind of throwing that for me right now. But it's their Facebooks, And
to give you an example, every time one of them posts something, I have to sit there and think about who the hell is. Oh, okay, that And that's I'd rather just keep the illusion there. It makes my life simpler. I'm not smart enough to think of two different worlds all the time.
The names are still real to you, damn it, right?
That's right. It's real to me.
No, real to me, damn it.
All right, real quick, let's finish this guy off.
Okay. Great, so you look to me to do that, Sorg.
Yes,
all right.
That's okay. I touched base with our interview, so.
It's, all right, so we're back to the Wolf insulting internet fans.
Yes.
And it's the part where he ended with fuck off.
No, I know where I am, Wrestle fan. Fuck off! Oh, Jesus Christ.
Now he lost it.
All right, there we go.
Way to go.
Gmail just completely reset on me.
Oh, no. It's cool that you have an opinion, but...
I got it. But, God damn it, Wrestle fan.
You guys
What?
get along,
You
seriously.
said Gmail crash.
And I just have to find my spot again, fucker. All right, it's cool that you have an opinion, but because you know what's going to happen prior, does not make your opinion worth more than anyone else's. Be thankful that the WWE acknowledges you, because you have done more harm to this business than good. I am fucking tired of some 4-foot jerk from Jersey calling insert random wrestler a glorified mid-carder who was forced down our throats. Earth to asshole, wrestling is scripted, planned out, fake, okay? Remember that. So everyone can be believed as a champion. Now on that note, the same shit you throw at John Cena can be applied to almost all main eventers. Remember The Rock? For a while he was okay in the ring and being overused. Remember Triple H? He was way overused during 2003 until now. Now I want to clarify that it is okay to feel strongly about something you love unless you live in Cleveland. Get off LeBron's dick and try to remember that your opinion is no higher than the next guy. Remember, crappy internet nerds, you guys ruined an Edge and Christian reunion at last year's Royal Rumble. You deserve death, fuckers.
Jeez.
Nice.
Thank you, Wrestling Mayhem crew, for allowing to shit on people on a regular weekly basis. I want to truly thank Lunchbox for endorsing my emails and reading them exactly how I'd say it. You must be a nig. But
I think you're supposed to say ninja there.
Ninja, yes. But alas, this is the end for now. Mike Sorg, thanks Sorg.
No, he says thanks Sorg. Yeah.
Thanks Sorg, Mike, Fetus, NLB, the Don. Continue the great show and continue the funny.
I'm just down to Fetus now, really?
You are okay. Just down to Fetus.
I wasn't reading it right, and I thought it said Festus. So I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Fantastic. Well, that is the fan mail. Thank you guys for getting that in last minute there. I really appreciate it. Well, let's go to our interview then. All right, guys, on the line right now, returning to the show once again is a friend of the show and my latest riding mate to all over Pennsylvania, Joe Dombrowski. How you doing?
Greetings and or salutations, gentlemen. Thank you for having me, and it is an astute pleasure and honor to be here with you dignified young lads.
Excellent, excellent. Now, I'm hoping, we talked about this, hopefully this becomes an annual thing to have you on and talk about PWO's Resolution here.
Certainly.
So, looking forward to that. So what's going on with PWO? It's been a while since we really talked a lot about it. How's the Fed been growing? What's been going on with it?
Well, it's really as it's been since day one. It's a grassroots movement. One fan at a time, one step at a time. The hardest part is getting word out there to the mainstream and to those that don't follow independent wrestling. And we've attempted our best to do that, touring around to various towns and communities and cities, from Cleveland to Youngstown and everywhere in between, and looking to add some more stops on that schedule in the coming season as well. Had some publicity in a local Toledo newspaper this week. Everybody can check out online right now. I know there's a link to it on the Wrestling Observer site. And this time of year, it's when the past year of hard work and sacrifice and effort all pays off. It's a culmination, and it's called Resolution. In many ways, a resolution to the past year of chaos and rivalries. And this year will be Sunday afternoon, August 1st, 3 p.m. bell time at the Nautica Pavilion. That's in downtown Cleveland.
And special marquee attractions this year, we will have Hacksaw Jim Duggan, legend himself, as well as the ECW original, the man from the Bowery, Raven. He will be there as part of a blockbuster card.
Excellent, excellent. Now, you guys, we talked about before, you guys are producing a show on Sports Time Ohio. What's the reach for you guys up there?
Well, it's every Sunday night, 10 o'clock p.m., Sports Time Ohio, which has been such a great partner for us, and they've been very supportive. And from what I've heard, our numbers, our ratings have been higher this year than they have in any of our prior seasons. In Sports Time Ohio, the best thing about it is there's no boundaries to where it can go. You can get it anywhere you are, all over the country. We're in over 4 million homes in the state of Ohio, and nationwide via satellite, DirecTV, Dish Network. If you have a premium sports package, chances are you can get or do get Sports Time Ohio. We've had emails from people in Texas, in California, in Florida, even people in Canada, even foreign countries have called our signal. So really, it's something where I don't think even we ourselves get the scope of what this is and who can be out there watching. We've heard from people in the wrestling business as well. So this is something pretty widespread, and the platform is there, and I just hope that we have enough to offer where we can lift off of that platform successfully.
Excellent. Now let's talk about this event in the past. Of course, this is usually your big, if you will, your kind of your WrestleMania of the year for your promotion, or your Bound for Glory if you want to go TNA wise. But you've had 2 big shows like this in the past. What are some of the highlights for you? What are some of the crazy stuff that people should maybe check out and kind of can give a taste of what we can expect this year?
One of the highlights for me for Resolution every year is the fact that it's really more than just a wrestling show. You have that big event kind of feel, because every year you have a tremendous atmosphere. It's right on the river. It's right. It has an outdoor setting with a tarp over top in case there's rain. So you get the best of both worlds there. But you get over 1,000 fans, and I want to say with reasonable conviction, the only live event wrestling-wise, independent level, in that area that can get that crowd consistently every year for Resolution is PWO. And this year, our live music will be presented by a band called Relic, who's performed our official song. And as I said, you get the marquee stars of the past, you get the names of the future. Some moments to stand out for me. Our first Resolution, we crowned our first ever heavyweight champion when M-Dog 20 Matt Cross beat Josh Prohibition. And that was a big personal moment for Matt, because that was his first major heavyweight title in his hometown of Cleveland. I remember Johnny Gargano and Gregory Iron in a last man standing match after a very personal year-long rivalry that saw Gargano try to end Greg's career.
Over 1,000 fans flocked the Plainview Pavilion.
Sorry about that.
Such a great moment. Such a great moment watching Greg get to his feet after that match to a standing ovation from 1,034 people. And then you've got Greg the Hammer Valentine. You've got Al Snow, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, King Kong Bundy. All these big stars that have come through the doors that have shown their support for the company. Resolution 2 last year, Josh Prohibition's retirement match against Johnny Gargano. 28-minute classic. Easily in the top 3 matches I've ever called anywhere in my career was Gargano and Prohibition. You had the dumpster match with the Gambinos against Bane and Hobo Joe. The rise of sex appeal, Al Snow and Nate Matson, and so much more. It's cliche, but if you make one show every year, it's got to be Resolution, because you never know what you're going to see. But no matter what happens, you're going to get your money's worth.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about a little bit here. Of course, PWO is not the only promotion you've been working with. We talked to you last time while we were out there for the tapings for Ring of Honor on HDNet, of course. Now, you had quite the experience. Well, you've been heard a lot on the DVDs as of late in the past few months, and recently you got to call the last big Ring of Honor Internet pay-per-view with one Jim Cornette, who we all love on this show. Tell us, how was that experiment like?
I loved it. It was, without a doubt, one of the highlights of my career. If you want to go as far as to call something like that a career validating performance or moment, I guess you could. Mm-hmm. Toronto's always been one of the best cities for wrestling. They've always been very vocal, very opinionated, very passionate. From Maple Leaf Wrestling decades ago on to present day. And to be there, my first time I dared trek into Canada, the third world country that it is, with its socialized medicine and gun control, it was a foreign world for me. I didn't understand it, but I braved the elements. And me and Dave Prazak sat ringside in probably over 100-degree temperatures in full dark suits, with probably close to 1,000, if not more, Canadian fans there, just completely raucous, with the exception of my time in England, possibly. I've never heard a crowd louder than that. And I had the pleasure of having Jim Cornette sit in with us in the main event. Cornette's a very personable guy, very passionate guy. What you see on the InsTube and whatnot, is just a small example of Mr. Cornette's personality. He's been nothing but pleasant and polite with me and happy to have me on board, and I'm very happy to be working with him. It was a weird moment of clarity for me watching him at Ring of Honor TV do some of the same things I do with PWO and realizing that Cornette does it a lot calmer than I do. Mm-hmm. It didn't always seem right, but Cornette knows his stuff, and he was very helpful calling the main event, Tyler Black and Davey Richards in Toronto. He's a very opinionated guy, as I said, and helped me out a little bit with the direction of the broadcast and whatnot, and I hope that I'm back there live soon to work with him again. And I think that might still be on GoFightLive.tv at Step Before Dishonor. If not, it'll be out soon, courtesy of ROHWrestling.com on DVD.
Fantastic. I've been hearing great things. I've yet to pick up one of these DVDs yet, but I plan to. There's a picture up there for your video, guys. What's that?
Don't your eyes for not buying the DVDs.
I know. Well, actually, WrestleFan on the show here got a chance to get the pay-per-view live, correct?
Yeah, I did get to check out the pay-per-view, and yeah, definitely really great work. The thing about, just saying, not just because you're on the air, but I think with Joe Dombrowski, the thing that I think you provide that's different from any other announcer you see on TV is that you have so much enthusiasm when you talk about whatever it is you're discussing. And, that's not something you see a lot on mainstream TV, even on, like, WWE, TNA, anything. And I definitely think you're a great talent in the commentating station.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that first and foremost, and I think that's something that the wrestling business sorely needs and really lacks. I've heard, I can't confirm this, but I've heard that in places like WWE, the announcers are told not to overreact and not to start screaming and yelling, so as not to insult the intelligence of the fans or whatnot. But that's what you need. As an announcer, it's my job to convey whatever emotion is being projected on that TV screen or on that computer screen to the viewer. And if I'm being handcuffed, then the presentation suffers. And I don't know if that plays into why they're not so high on Jim Ross right now or what, but the emotion is definitely a focal point, in my opinion. It's something I've tried to focus on very intently, and if it shines through and it makes Ring of Honor or PWO or IWC better, then I'm happy to have done that for you.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Well, there's one more topic I wanted to broach, and we talked about this a lot on our last trip out to Clearfield Cataclysm. Please share with the people the Dreamachine vest.
It was a moment of clarity for me when I pulled that vest out, and I looked around and realized that so many people who were around for it in its prime just aren't really on the radar anymore. And I maybe the next generation needs taught. And I'm holding it in my hand right now because I'm hoping that through the douchebaggy earpiece I'm wearing right now to do this call, you can feel the power of the vest. And I'm hoping you can all sense it just vibrating through your pores right now.
Now, for those to check out while they're listening to this, it has a MySpace page, correct?
Yes, it does have a MySpace page that I helped it out a little bit because it's kind of weird with typing.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I helped it out with some photo uploads too, but I believe that's myspace.com/Dreamachine vest. That's 1M for you spelling aficionados.
Oh, that's why I can never remember it.
Yeah, I mean, you can find out. I mean, basically, the Dreamachine vest originated in IWC in 2002 with the Dreamachine Dustin Ardeen, who was, I guess, a combination of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, sans the talent, instinct, and athleticism. And by the way, brilliant series of matches between Dustin Ardeen and Spider Mask. If you ever have time to check them out, they are classics. I was very proud, and I felt like I was running like Wrestle Reunion or something when I reunited the vest with Spider Mask.
Yeah, we'll bring that picture up here.
It was very exciting. But Dustin Ardeen, basically, long story short, because I wasn't really privy to most of the first-hand incidents, not exactly your next Shawn Michaels, your next Bret Hart, and didn't exactly have a lengthy storied career in IWC. And after he flew the coop, the vest was apprehended by one bastard son of 1,000 corpses, Sebastian Dark, who achieved ownership and officially turned it into the Peace, Love, and Crabs vest, PLC, and sent it on a tour of Ohio Indies with Carlton Kaz and Chuck Brody, with some stops in Pittsburgh as well, at which point every cockamamie bemusing photo you can think of, with everybody from Kid Cupid, Stacey Hunter, E.C. Steele, random IHOP and Eaton Park waitresses, just everybody posed for pictures with this vest. It went to me in 2005 to take care of it, went with me to Europe, and all over Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, West Virginia, Georgia. I didn't take it to Canada. I was paranoid about customs, but it's been everywhere else. And I introduced the vest to the Blue Meanie. I introduced the vest to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who will be at PWO Resolution 3 August 1st in Cleveland. And I introduced the vest to Abdul the Butcher, who tried to eat the vest, which I don't appreciate because the vest is my friend. And we've been besties for 5 years now, and it's gone everywhere with me. I'm kind of upset about its hygiene because it hasn't really been washed since I've had it. But then I remember I used to share locker rooms with Sean Dahmer, and then I felt a little bit better about it. So basically, the Dreamachine vest is one of the lost relics of indie wrestling, and I may go up in the Smithsonian soon, I'm not sure. But thanks to people like me and Sebastian Dark, we're going to keep the legend alive and hope everyone else feels the power of Dreamachine. You got to remember this, folks. The Dreamachine Dustin Ardeen was a heartthrob-type persona in wrestling, but the only girl that cheered for him is his little sister. I'm not sure what that means, but that's what happened. That shows you the power that this has. It's corrupted family. It's corrupted friends. It can transform you at the drop of a hat. And the Dreamachine vest is going to be with me August 1st in Cleveland, Ohio for PW Resolution 3, a defining moment. And it's going to be in my bag, and that's how I know this is going to be the best PWO show ever, because the power of the vest is going to be there. And as long as I cuddle with it and nestle with it and tickle it a little bit the night before, I know it's going to be in my corner with my best interest in mind on August 1st in Cleveland, Ohio. And that, I think, is the best Cliff Notes version of the Dreamachine vest I can give.
Excellent. Again, you can check that out. I was showing pictures here while we were talking. That's Dreamachine Vest, myspace.com/DreamMachineVest1M. I want to point out a little cameo here. There's a little blur in the background there. That would be one Doc Remedy inserting himself in the legend.
That was him doing his best impersonation of his wrestling career. Just one quick blow.
It'll be a blur in people's minds, at least, right? So.
Well, more like a suppressed memory.
Fantastic. Yeah, my first recollection of the Dream Machine vest was I believe when Potter had it at a base brawl, and he wore it during the game.
Yeah, it comes out randomly. It's like Michael Hayes on WWE TV. Like he'll have like a once a year cameo just for something special.
Oh, he's still here. Okay.
When the time is right, and then it's shrouded in mystery again. You never really know when it's going to pop up again or who it's going to pop up on. It's like Where's Waldo?
Excellent. All right. Well, of course, everybody check out pwowrestling.com. I'll be up there in Cleveland. You can say hi to me. I'll be around. Relic, we're going to be talking to this evening, if all goes well, on the Music Fun Time show. So there's links to that are going to be up on SorgatronMedia.com when it's up. Should be up by Wednesday evening. For those of you listening to this early. Well, and of course, Joe, tell us what else is coming up for you. I know you at least have IWC coming up in the near future.
Yeah, well, we also have to mention that on YouTube.com/PWO Wrestling, there are some really amazing video packages for Resolution 3. It's YouTube.com/PWO Wrestling. Both to sum up, there's a cold open for the entire show, and its tagline is Defining Moments, and video packages for the main event, which is Johnny Gargano and Matt Cross for the heavyweight title. The tag match for the tag title, there's a sex appeal, Bobby Shields and Bobby Beverly versus Gregory Iron and Hobo Joe. No DQ, by the way, that'll be crazy. And Raven's Rules, $100,000 bounty match. Aaron McGuire brings in Raven to take on Jason Bane. Also, of course, Hacksaw Jim Duggan will take on Marion Fontaine, which I'm excited about because Fontaine has had some very unkind things to say about me and PWO management publicly. It was very out of line, and I hope Jim Duggan teaches that young man a lesson. For me, aside from Resolution, I think wrestling's trying to kill me because on Tuesday I have to fly back out to Philly to do 3 more Ring of Honor DVDs, and I got to come back Wednesday night. And Wednesday night, I host my online radio show, Pro Wrestling Live Radio, at blogtalkradio.com/Pro Wrestling Live. And then on Saturday afternoon, I have to be all the way in New Jersey for the Pro Wrestling Live The Rising live event with PWO superstars Johnny Gargano, Gregory Iron, and Bobby Beverly. I've teased I may fight Bobby Beverly if he does anything too annoying. Then again, I may just do that any point before then because he's a very annoying, airheaded, poorly tattooed simpleton. And IWC, Cage Fury is coming up. There will be a lot of Fury, a lot of cages. The 6-man match, where hopefully Chuck Roberts will not step foot in there because I know the last time one of my bosses got too close to a cage match, it was a very ugly sight. So I got some sick perverse pleasure out of that, but I don't want to see that happen to Chuck.
I will never forget that.
Eric Lee Claw, Justin Idol, Shima Zine, and Super Hentai. That's gotten very personal as well. Super Hentai will be at Resolution 3 in Cleveland, as will the Gambino family and Michael Facade, for those of you Pittsburghers out there. Also, will be a surprise at Resolution. I'm not allowed to tell you what. But that and so much more that is UK Fury. And I was supposed to go back to England soon, but they kind of went out of business, so I don't think I can do that anymore. Not England, but the company in it. I think the country is still surviving, although I'm sure they're in debt like every other country. But that's beside the point. So I think my point is check out Resolution 3 at Defining Moment, because it's PWO's defining moment as a company, and I think it'll be your defining moment as a wrestling fan.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Joe. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Of course, he's on MySpace, myspace.com/Joe Dombrowski. You just search him, you'll find him. And, of course, the Dream Machine Vest and all those links.
Also on the book face.
What's that?
The book face.
The book face.
Facebook.com/Joe Dombrowski Wrestling.
Fantastic. Go check him out. Thanks a lot, Joe, and we can't wait to hear from you again.
Thank you. I'll see at least some of you this weekend.
Excellent. See you in Cleveland.
Hanging in the dark, and I'm afraid and ashamed of the things she said. Never been so alive, never felt more dead. And these days all is great, but the water's red. I entertain these insane visions in my head. I fell in love just above all the vapor trails, where the vultures encircle our sinking sails. SOS, please rescue me. You're out of breath, I'm out of steam. Hell, you say to get my heart. Our love is torn this ship apart. Please rescue me. It's a crime all this time we've been lost for words. Lost at sea, we believed everything we heard. For last night I was right in the ocean blue. Now I swim with the fishes and sink with you. And these days all is great, but the water's red. I entertain these insane visions in my head. I fell in love just above all the vapor trails, where the vultures encircle our sinking sails. SOS, please rescue me. You're out of breath, I'm out of steam. Hold you sailing in my heart. Our love is torn this ship apart. SOS, come rescue me. Losing hope but surviving. I need a hand to save my soul, to pull me from this all-time world. Rescue me. Rescue me.
This is Delicious Jimmy DeMarco, and you're listening to the Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the one, the only...
It's the men of the Wrestling Mayhem Show at WrestlingMayhemShow.com.
Welcome back, guys. Thanks, Joe Dombrowski, for joining us. Chris Maverick is still here. Mad Mike, of course, and WrestleFan has... I think he's taking a walk with his mom.
Wait,
What?
Sorg.
What?
I have a note from the directors.
Yes?
WrestleFan has left the building. I don't know.
Texas? In Texas? Because we're in several buildings here. I don't get that.
I don't know. Sorg, I just got a letter that says WrestleFan has left the building.
Although I love that your headphones. You do look like you would be receiving messages on those headphones.
Thank you.
They are prepared for somebody with a head 3 times your size.
Sorg, how do you know my head doesn't swell every time I come onto the Wrestling
I wasn't
Mayhem
going to
show?
go there, but anyways. Well, we'll see if it swells when we prove that you love to read. Because it's Audible time.
I do love to read.
He does. He does. Of course, we have the deal, audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media. You get 1 free audiobook, yours, regardless to keep. Is that said in the right order? Oh, well. Cancel anytime. 14 days to try out all the wonderful services, including the iPhone app. They have the Android app, the BlackBerry app, so you have no excuse to be enjoying it on the go. And we like to give you an idea what they have on Audible that can give you an idea what maybe that free book could be. And I think Mad Mike, not a Wrestle Mike, has something to say about that.
Dashing Mad Mike.
Dashing Mad
does.
Mike has something to say about that.
Dashing. Well, a lot of you may not know the name Chuck Palahniuk.
I don't.
But you know the name Chuck Palahniuk.
I do.
He was the man who wrote Fight Club.
Oh.
Now, I know you love Fight Club because you're friends of the Wrestling Mayhem Show, and we love Fight Club. But
we're not supposed to talk about it, though.
What?
We're not supposed to talk about it. You never talk about Fight Club.
I'm talking about the book.
We're rule breakers.
I'm talking about the book. I am not talking about any possible fight clubs that may or may not exist, because I would not be allowed to talk about them if they did not exist. I am talking about the book called Fight Club. However, I'm also talking about the book Invisible Monsters, written by the same author. Invisible Monsters is probably one of the most fucked up books I've ever read in my life, but it is fantastic. The summary they have here on Audible is very brief. She's a fashion model who has everything: a boyfriend, a career, a loyal best friend. But when a sudden freeway accident leaves her disfigured and incapable of speech, she is transformed from the beautiful center of attention to an invisible monster, so hideous that no one will acknowledge she exists. Enter Brandy Alexander, Queen Supreme, one operation away from becoming a real woman, who will teach her that reinventing yourself means erasing your past and making up something better, and that salvation hides in the last places you'll ever want to look. Trust me, it is fantastic.
Let's see. Here's a little sample of the audio. Maybe.
Blackstone Audio presents
Well, that's the intro.
Invisible Monsters.
That's not helpful at
by
all.
Chuck Palahniuk.
Okay, sometimes those don't work out so well. Anyways, hey, WrestleFan's back.
Hey, I'm back.
So anyways, check that out, audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media, and help out the show and support reading. It's fundamental, and so is the Mayhem. So let's get into the news. Before anything, of course, Mad Mike, you returned from a long trip all the way corner to corner in this country to San Diego.
And you know what's weird? When you land in San Diego, the first thing you actually hear is Booyaka Booyaka 619.
Interesting.
Huh.
Interesting. I was not aware of that.
It's very bizarre. I was really surprised. I think
Pueblo.
the airports have like landing strips that set off the music.
Oh, okay. So everybody feels comfortable there. Anyways, Comic-Con, there was a lot. Wrestling was pretty big at Comic-Con this year. I know we have a story about what's going on with Paul Heyman, but of course you got to see firsthand everything going on. What stuck out for you?
Well, one of the first things I did was I went to the Mattel booth because they had a huge fucking wrestling display.
Really?
Really, they had a life-size version of The Undertaker that you could stand next to and get pictures with.
Nice.
Which I have a picture of. It'll be posted on Facebook somewhere eventually. But they also had a couple of little figures, a couple of not souvenirs, replicas of things in the past. Like they had Legion of Doom's shoulder pads from WrestleMania.
Nice.
They had The Rock's Brahma Bull Championship. Like, if you are clever enough on the internet, you can find your way to my Facebook page. They have the actual replica title that The Rock was supposed to use to kind of make up for Stone Cold Steve Austin's smoking belt.
Nice.
And it is fantastic. It's a gold plate. It has a giant Brahma bull head with the raised eyebrow on it. And it has the same thing on the little side panels, too. It's really, really awesome. And they also had just tons of new action figures. They have Iron Sheik, Kamala, Terry Funk, a whole bunch of new entrance greats. They had Sheamus, Yoshitatsu, tons of different ones. But the biggest news from the Mattel booth was that friend of the show, Macho Man Randy Savage, will have an action figure.
Nice. How long has it been since we've seen that?
I think they said it's been like 11 years since Savage had a figure.
Not even a classic figure.
Nope, not even a classic figure.
Wow.
Showing the Macho Man some love.
It's about time. And of course, the other big news. Did you catch anything there live about the Paul Heyman announcement?
Unfortunately, no, I did not. I was only there for Thursday and Friday, and my main wrestling objectives was to see The Miz, which mission accomplished. And on Friday, I got to see the Rattlesnake himself. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Funny side note, Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you follow him on Twitter, is a magical man.
He is a magical man. He apparently he's got the new iPhone and FaceTime, and because he's got these wonderful videos of him making dollars disappear, very close up. Do you have anything to share with us about your experiences meeting the people?
Well, Miz, pardon the pun, but he was really awesome. He spoke to a lot of the fans. He talked shit with us for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. I felt a little bad for Eve because Eve was there the same time the Miz was, and almost no one cared about her.
Aww.
I feel bad because I like Eve.
Wait, a hot chick at a Comic-Con that nobody paid attention to?
Poor Vanilla Whore number 12.
Well, she wasn't dressed as Catwoman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. But next, because I mean, The Miz is really, like, as engaging as he is on TV in person.
Awesome.
Like, he showed up with the U.S. title, the Money in the Bank briefcase. He just took over the whole little square section that we were at for the Mattel booth.
Nice.
He just took over it all. And, Stone Cold had a signing for his movie The Stranger. And he was also really cool. As soon as he came out to the booth, we started an Austin chant. So the first thing he says was he grabbed like a microphone that the pusher had, and he said, "If you want to get this damn signing started off, give me a hell yeah!" And of course, we all responded in kind, but it was pretty spectacular. And he would sign anything. He took pictures of little kids. He did the whole what thing for a little bit. Just really, really personable dudes. I understand that the Bellas, John Morrison, and Kane were also at Comic-Con, but unfortunately, I didn't have tickets to those days, so I couldn't get a chance to go see them.
Well, a little bit from Comic-Con over the Newswire. DivaDirt.com has a little bit. Apparently, Raw writers Brian Gerwitz and Ed Koski appeared at a panel discussion along with Miz and I think a couple others. They were asked about why the Diva matches are so short, which is something we complain about because it just seems like a minute and a half, even though it's a 6 Diva match. Seems kind of ridiculous. Basically, the line you'd expect. Oftentimes you can put aside a certain amount of time. It's a live show. You want to see, can't speak for this panel. He made a reference to Miz, but sometimes the talent will go over their allotted time. So, and of course, with main event stuff comes first, and the Divas matches are unfortunately the first on the chopping block, from the sounds of it. So, yeah, that's true. And actually, if you look at it, I bet you see longer Divas matches in SmackDown because of that, because it is probably a little better timed out, being it's a pre-taped show. So,
yeah.
That was interesting. Also, Paul Heyman made an announcement this week, but it's not regarding TNA.
Of course it's not, because he's not going to TNA. Not ever.
I'm starting to question it now. Basically, he was on there with Jeff Katz. No, I'm sorry, Jeff Katz of Geek Week was reporting this. This is from re-reported on ProWrestling.net. He has a game coming out. Quote, the premise is simple. Paul Heyman has teamed with Geek Week to found a new online fighting league featuring a hybrid of pro wrestling, mixed martial arts, and boxing. It's classic turn-based online fighting, bringing combat sports into the era of community-driven games like Mafia and Farmville. We found our crack, ladies and gentlemen of this audience. Players will be able to create their own custom fighters in any discipline, leading their character from the bottom of the rankings all the way to championship gold. Wow. So, added bonus users will be able to play mixed matches, pitting wrestlers against MMA stars against boxers, and so on. This can't be licensed by anybody for names.
Well, it might be like Fire Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Or they'll have
So
Mon
a
Bina,
creator.
and, you can't tell who it is. Or Rock Hesnar.
Nice.
So I mean, is this are you guys ready for the Godfinger of wrestling? I guess.
Godfinger.
I mean, I guess it depends on the presentation. I mean, does it sound like something you'd bite on? I mean, we all played the Wrestler app on Facebook when applications were first getting popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest, and that kind of fell out pretty quick. But I don't know. And what does Paul Heyman know about creating a social media game? So.
I don't think he knows much of anything. I think he knows how to cash a check that is written to him to use his name.
Yep.
As long as it's not
Speaking of which, if anybody would like to make the Chris Maverick game on Facebook, I am available for, check cashing purposes.
Nice.
Excellent. And since I got WrestleFan back, was there anything else from Comic-Con you wanted to bring up while we're at it, Mike?
Not much that's really wrestling related, but if you ever get the chance, San Diego Comic-Con is a must travel. You have to go.
Now I've attended, of course, with you the New York Comic-Con. I realize this is a bigger event. How much bigger is it?
Sorg, let me put it this way. The New York Con and the San Diego Con is like comparing a fetus's genitalia with Ron Jeremy's.
Wow.
What the hell?
All right, basically,
I got you. You don't need to explain.
At least 3 times as big.
All right. I think we've covered that as much as we possibly should. WrestleFan, I think you watched a certain wrestling promotion as I did today.
Yeah, I did check out, as you did, Lucha Libre USA. I gotta say, for an MTV produced show, it's actually pretty decent.
Oh, the production is up there over what we saw in Wrestling Society X, that's for sure.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
the commentators don't suck.
Well, yeah, the commentators are you know what, I'm getting a little mixed up because then I watched WrestleLicious and I think it just fried my recollection.
There's puns everywhere.
There's puns everywhere. I'm not getting into that. God. But anyways, Lucha Libre USA premiered on MTV2 a couple weeks ago. First episode is up on MTV.com. Just do a quick search for Lucha Libre USA. It's also in delicious.com/wrestling. Wrestling Mayhem. Delicious.com/wrestling mayhem if you want to follow any of these stories. But we got links to the videos for that, WrestleLicious. We've been catching up on and everything. It was, as I was telling you, like, I realized that Corleone guy was Mark Jindrak. Who we remember from WCW days and the invasion angle and everything.
He actually, Jindrak has been doing a lot of work in AAA.
Mm-hmm. So. According to his Wikipedia page, apparently, well, he's been through a couple of different promotions down there, but apparently he's in charge of getting wrestlers signed on for Lucha Libre USA. So it seems like a long haul kind of promotion. They're already promoting live events, it looked like, from the episode I watched. They brought back the 6-sided ring to America on television, which I'm very excited about. No, but still, even more than TNA ever has, it felt like the best of WCW I watched. We had Mini Park, La Parka guy. Elio Oriental was in the first match, which was a trios match, which I didn't catch all the rules, but was it that they had to pin the captain to finish the match?
Like it was a cap. That's actually rules. The rule to Mexico-style trios matches. You don't see that much in America. Since I know you guys went to King of Trios, that rule wasn't in place. But it's like either you pin the captain or you pin the other 2 members of the team. Definitely. For it being an MTV-produced show, they really stuck to the Lucha Libre tradition, I think. So that was really cool to see.
It's not over-edited. It's a lot better facility. It doesn't feel like a studio and people planted around the ring. I mean, it looks like where is it? Palm Springs. They did this. So, I mean, of course, they had a very mixed Latino crowd, which would be the, I mean, it's like WWE. That's got to be an audience that they're heading after with this thing to bring it over. I mean,
Sorg, WrestleFan, I have one question for you. Did they advertise any future episodes that may involve piranhas?
No, that was the advertisements Saturday night for Piranhas 3D. I think you're confusing.
Then I can't watch it.
What? No, that was... Wait.
I want piranhas.
You want the piranhas.
You want a piranha death match?
Yes.
Jeez.
And Sorg, Piranhas 3D is apparently too hot for Comic-Con.
Too hot for Comic-Con.
Apparently. That's what all the driving billboards in San Diego told me.
Meaning they couldn't afford a booth at Comic-Con. But
No, they were there, though.
Oh, they were there.
Exactly.
They were at Comic-Con. They probably just wouldn't allow them to show everything.
Right. But
the only people I know of who have actually been banned from there, the Suicide Girls were unofficially banned, but they were asked not to return this year.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
No one really knows why.
But yeah, more about the Lucha Libre USA. They did have like the main stars that you've seen, like you said, Minnie Park, Masquerade Dorada, Tenebros Jr. But they also had a lot of Lucha Libre stars that I've never heard of, and I think are sort of wrestlers or gimmicks that they've come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was it? The Puerto Rican. It was the Puerto Rican team. They were in the first match, but I think I didn't recognize them.
But I don't know. They could be a lot of people that they brought in. Of course, we don't. Well, of course, you watch Lucha Libre on your Spanish network down there in Texas. So
yeah. And also, just saying, Rocket Khan, it's not looking that great. Just saying.
Did we confirm? Was that guy Lenny Lane that you saw there?
I'm more than 99% sure that was Lenny Lane.
I don't know.
WrestleFan, when has Rocket Khan ever really looked that good?
That's true.
Good point.
But your Lenny Lane thing sent me on a tangent while I was watching that today. So I found LennyLane.com. Didn't see any mention per se of that. But I did see, and if you're in Minnesota, you're in luck because you can book
Lenny
a wrestling.
Lane will pump your gas.
Well, that too. But you can go to WrestlingParties.com.
This is Lenny Lane. Welcome to WrestlingParties.com.
And there apparently there's audio. WrestlingParties.com. Yeah, you can check it out. Lenny Lane apparently runs this thing, and you can have a birthday party for your kid with a wrestling match.
have a kid's birthday party with Lenny Lane.
There you go. Now that confused me because does anybody recall what Lenny Lane's gimmick was?
Very gay. Very gay.
Well, it depends on when. Sometimes he wasn't gay.
Oh, I miss Lenny and Lodi.
They were brothers.
They were brothers. That's right,
yes.
Lenny and Lodi. There wasn't much on Lodi when I tried to look him up on Wikipedia, unfortunately. So,
have you looked up Sign Guy Jobber? I heard he also went by that.
Sign Guy Jobber.
Jobber.
That might have been.
I remember. And then Lenny Lane wore a dress and thought he was a woman in TNA.
Really? Are you sure
I don't remember that.
Are you sure you're not confusing Big Vito?
No. It was
Big Vito wore
Lenny
a dress
Lane
by choice.
No. Lenny Lane was Big Vito before Big Vito.
And before that,
as far as the dress wearing thing.
Well, Lenny Lane's one of his first gimmicks in WCW was brilliant because he was I don't even know how to explain it. He was basically the backup Jericho. When Jericho was a mid-carder at best in WCW, which is why he went to the WWF at the time. He wanted to get away with it. They would not allow him above there on the card. But Lenny Lane's gimmick for a long time was he was a huge Chris Jericho fan who looked just like him and sort of,
He did look a lot like him.
Yeah, and when Jericho didn't want to deal with somebody, he'd throw him off to, throw him lower on the card towards Lenny Lane. That was that was the whole gimmick.
Now.
It's awesome.
Oh man!
They both had top knots. It was really great.
Oh, WCW.
we miss you, but we don't.
No, we don't miss it, Sorg. It's on Thursdays.
Fantastic. Speaking of TNA,
see, you like that transition, Sorg?
I guess we'll go there. Hardcore Justice is coming up. Who's excited about One Night Stand 3?
Yay! I guess I don't know.
Apparently, they're going to halt all storylines, and
of course they are.
ECW only. Nobody will notice.
Yeah, because apparently Team 3D is reuniting for this pay-per-view event, even though they broke up at the last pay-per-view.
Oh no, WrestleFan, didn't you watch it last week?
Yeah, but
they had a talk.
Yeah, they had
and because they had a talk, and because they completely disagreed, that means they're back together.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at their website, hardcorejustice.com, they're advertised as Team 3D.
Of course they are.
They will be wrestling.
Of course they are, WrestleFan. Because you all remember those ECW wrestlers, Team 3D, Brother Ray and Brother Devon. I want Brother Dances.
Brother Dances.
Apparently.
Or Dances with Brothers.
Yeah,
or
Dances
something
with
like
Brother
that.
would be better. Sign Guy Brother.
You know what? You could just put any old Dudley Boy name, have Hulk Hogan say it, and that's what they'll call him.
Big Brother.
Sign Guy Brother. Dances with Brother.
Big Brother Dick?
Yes. Big Brother Dick.
Wow, they do have an entire website here. They have the guys up there. They have matches on here yet?
No, Sorg, they're going to do what ECW used to do back in the day. They're going to announce 2 matches and then let the rest of the card fill itself in that night.
Yeah. Well, didn't WWE do the same thing for One Night Stand?
No, they
did. The first one.
Did they for the first one? They tried the same thing with.
But the first one, they had at least three or so matches.
Yeah,
they had half the matches set for the first one, and then they sort of didn't like any matches that featured people who were WWE stars at the time. They announced ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All the matches that were like the Mike Awesome match, since nobody knew who Mike Awesome was anymore,
they advertised it.
They just kind of let that one go. But I believe let's see, I'm trying to remember who was on that. Jericho faced
Lance Storm.
No, Lance Storm. You're right, and that was announced. Benoit against Guerrero.
Eddie.
Yeah, and I think they said, and I think they announced Rey Mysterio against Psychosis, who wasn't a WWF person yet.
The first one was Ray. No, Ray wasn't in it. It was Psychosis, Super Crazy.
No, Ray was in it. He got booed.
And Guido, I believe.
Oh, it's like
no, it was. I thought
Ray
it was
did
Crazy
619 and got booed. Was that?
That might have been the second one because
he had
a title match.
No, wait. It was Crazy, Tajiri, and Guido. And Mikey Whipwreck came out with Tajiri. Psychosis came out with Super Crazy, and Guido came out with the FBI.
Did he?
Right.
I believe so.
That's true. But then who did Ray, and you're sure Ray didn't wrestle on that match?
No, Psychosis. Yeah, Psychosis wrestled Ray on that match.
Yeah, because Ray did the 619 during it, and the Hammerstein Ballroom, the ECW arena, booed the hell out of him.
And I remember Psychosis came out with his mask, and he took his mask off, and then everyone chanted, "Put your mask on."
So
yeah, that was a surprise.
But the thing is, like with Hardcore Justice, I don't know how successful it's going to be because they have 2 weeks to build it. You know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
You know,
I don't think.
Hardcore Justice to me just seems like Dixie Carter and TNA realize that they can't sell pay-per-views with the stories and the roster that they have, at least how they're using them. So they're going to try and use someone else's roster and concept and copyright to try and sell pay-per-view. I mean, last week on ECW, I even said ECW. Last week on TNA, Tommy Dreamer said ECW One Night Stand. You should not be allowed to say that on TV.
Well, I think the word is that they are allowed to refer to ECW in the past tense. They're trying to say it's a hard. I think it's hardcore Hardcore Revolution.
Justice.
Hardcore Revolution 2.0 is what they're trying to kind of coin their group.
But they're calling them ECW Originals.
But you can do that because that is here's how copyright works.
It's a fact.
You can state a matter of fact. For instance, they can say if they wanted to be awkward about it, they can say Brother Devon, who wrestled at ECW as Devon Dudley. They could announce him that way every single time because that is a statement of fact. Now they can't they can't say Devon Dudley is wrestling on this pay-per-view because that's not true. The WWF owns that name. But you can refer to, you can refer to anybody in TNA by the name they had in the WWF or WCW or ECW at the time, if you're referring to matches that happened at that time.
Yeah.
I hate copyright laws.
Yeah, it's a very odd thing because that's fair use. It is it would be like saying referring to a character on television. The WWF can't claim that that Michael Knight is wrestling on their show because they don't own Michael Knight, but they can say David Hasselhoff, who played Michael Knight in the 80s. You can do that.
Okay.
Basically, as long as they're not throwing ECW around and all those promotions and commercials and everything, they're good.
Now, what if they have it in like a package? Like if they have a package for Hardcore Justice and you hear like the crowd chanting ECW or something like that.
I don't think they'll do it.
I doubt they'll do it because they would have to use WWF owned footage in order to do that. Now you're talking about you're talking about during the new show, like if the crowd chants ECW during the match.
If the crowd chants ECW on the pay-per-view, they can't do anything.
Oh no! Well, I mean like using footage from say Dreamer's speech or something like that, where he says the letters ECW. Like they can't use any of that in.
Long as it depends on what he says. He can't say on tonight's ECW pay-per-view. He cannot do that, but he can say, and they do all the time. If you actually pay attention, Nash and Jarrett and they'll frequently say back in WCW or back in the NWO. They do that all the time, and they're allowed to do that so long as they're referring to something that happened in the past.
I think we're used to. I think the deal is we're used to back in the day where the feds didn't acknowledge themselves, each other whatsoever, like it was some kind of taboo. So I think we're still kind of shaking a little bit of that stigma when we talk about something like this, but we're used to WWE, of course, owns everything that they would talk about.
Right. They don't want to advertise for it. Think of it this way. If you've seen commercials for Pepsi that show Coca-Cola cans in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you can do that. That is perfectly okay to do. You can't say, no, you can't do things like, you can't say Coca-Cola sucks, but you can say, but Pepsi can make a commercial that says, we did a taste test and 5 out of 5 people we tasted who in the taste test liked our Pepsi better than their Coke. They can say that.
Yeah.
Long as you're making general statements of fact,
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
But yeah, I'm not too confident about this paper. It might do well, but I think the point is you gotta let ECW just
die.
Yeah. It's been almost over 10 years since ECW's died.
It has been 10 years since ECW died.
Yeah, it was early 2001, I think, when they got bought by WWE.
Yeah, so.
Oh, and they were gone before then, for all intents and purposes. They were gone towards the end of 2000, so it's been a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what I don't get? Everyone keeps saying that they miss ECW and all things like that. For all intents and purposes, ECW was a failure on a massive level.
Why would you say that? I wouldn't say that.
I mean, like, commercially.
Well, I think financially,
yeah, but ECW changed the wrestling business. And it was historically, if you actually look at the history of wrestling, ECW is very important what it accomplished. We got that ad going over here. What they accomplished was very important, but what actually happened in the business of ECW, sure, Paul Heyman was working with no budget, running a company out of his basement. And he was trying to take on Vince McMahon and Ted Turner, and he essentially ran out of money. But from a artistic point of view, what he was trying to accomplish, ECW did very, very well with that very, very limited budget.
Right.
It's basically...
Yeah, but I'm speaking like, I know a lot of the talent in ECW did very well, and a lot of the concepts in ECW did very well, but overall, as a promotion, like, it may have influenced some stuff, but I think a lot of that would have happened eventually anyway.
Would it?
I don't think so. I mean, I really don't know that I believe that.
Well, I mean, if you take a look at what really forced WWE to change gears and kind of go toward the Attitude Era, it was the NWO angle. The NWO angle was taken from Japan. It wasn't taken from ECW.
No, the NWO angle was stolen from Japan, and when the NWO started, WCW kicked Vince's ass. I mean, they just completely creamed him. It was over. Vince needed something to combat that with, and Vince, in order to combat the NWO, didn't just steal the NWO, he stole ECW. Everything that he did in those days, from the hardcore title to
Steve Austin drinking beers.
Steve Austin was a Sandman ripoff. If you look at what the original DX was, founded. The storyline behind that was Sean Hickenbottom and Paul Levesque, to use their real names, are trying to get fired so they can go to WCW. Heyman mentioned WCW and WWF on television every week and talked about the entire it was sort of a reverse Rob Van Dam angle. Rob Van Dam became Mr. Monday Night. The reason he used that name was he was supposedly such a valuable free agent that he was just waiting out his ECW contract so that he could be a free agent, because both of those other companies were fighting over him. Which was sort of true, but also extremely trumped up. And that was, but that's what, Helmsley and Michaels were never actually trying to get fired. But the entire idea of mixing angles with the truth and being, very, very fuzzy, that was Vince Russo stealing from Little Karate Kid reference there. Vince Russo stealing from ECW almost directly with a lot of what happened in the Attitude Era. And then, not to mention, indie feds to this day are copying old ECW angles all over the country. It definitely changed what pro wrestling is or became back then, and I think that still happens. If you were actually an ECW fan back then, there was actually a lot of failures, because Heyman's big thing, what made Heyman was a genius, was Heyman would try anything for 3 weeks. And then there was a lot of really, really bad stuff that happened that people just kind of forgot about. But then there was a lot of, the entire Mikey Whipwreck was a brilliant, was a brilliant character idea. It's like, hey, let's toss a kid out there. Let's give him not one offensive wrestling move, and let's let him lose every match for 4 years. It was brilliant.
And today we just say it's somebody getting squashed.
Yeah. Well, not really, because what's his name? In the new ECW, that was
Colin Delaney.
Colin Delaney, same angle. It was exactly the Mikey Whipwreck angle with Tommy Dreamer again, and you were just supposed to forget that Tommy had done that exact same storyline already 7 years before.
But to be fair, for as many people champion ECW, I think a lot of them, like myself personally, my only view of ECW as it was is the stuff that I can come across in DVD form or 24/7 or something. So I think there's a lot of rose-colored glasses on looking back on that promotion. I mean, I know I've sat there and watched some of it on 24/7 up at Mike's place and be like, wow, this, I don't know if I would have been as into it if this was what I watched week to week,
Yeah.
Well, you also have to remember that when you use, like, shock angles like ECW did, ECW didn't have nearly the wide exposure that a TNA or a WWE does.
Yeah,
right.
They were
at their heyday. They were about TNA's not that big. At their heyday, ECW was about at TNA's current level.
Like you talking like TNA's day, like when they had the national exposure.
Yeah, before back in I think that's why TNA was able to do like the old ECW invasion back in 2003 is because they didn't have to worry about sponsors or television looking down on it because of it.
Well, I mean, when you look at TNN, like ECW getting TNN, almost was kind of the thing that killed ECW.
Yeah, they couldn't do the same stuff that
they couldn't show their product. And if you look at TNA early on, when they were on Fox Sports Net and when they had the weekly buyable pay-per-views,
right?
You go to a bigger network, you can't show the product that you originally sold someone.
Well, even I think that the product took a back step because I remember going from the pay-per-views to trying to watch it on Fox Sports. One, it was on 3 p.m. every Friday.
Yeah,
replayed, but still they had a ticker on it.
But of course, they replayed at midnight.
The ridiculous sports ticker about wrestling matches, which was crazy. It just felt hindered in comparison. Like it felt like half of what I was into, and of course they were trying to. Then automatically they had to try to sell monthly pay-per-views off of this concept. Of course, nobody was watching them because nobody's going to find it on Fox Sports. You don't even get 100% of the country with that thing. So. Well, a great discussion, guys. There's actually a whole bunch of news we didn't get to, but that's okay. Any comments of what's good and what's not on Raw and SmackDown going on, or anything else that anybody would like to talk about?
I think, Lunchbox mentioned before in this email, I'm pretty interested in the whole John Cena's team is self-destructing.
Yeah.
But then, of course, I think, they're going to self-destruct, and then a couple weeks from now, Bret Hart's going to come out and be like, we got to stick together.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a rally. You're going to have the match. I think SummerSlam's where we find out the next step of what's behind Nexus, though.
I won't get into orbs, but I can see Bret Hart coming back to Raw real soon.
There was a double filming last night, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what I'm referring to, so it's okay.
Okay, that's fine. You didn't talk to Bret Hart at a bar and he told you secrets.
Actually, I did. I threatened to kick his leg out like Owen Hart if he didn't tell me everything that's going on with WWE, and he spilled his guts. By the way, person that took out The Undertaker, Vance Archer.
Wow, really?
You heard it here first, Wrestling Mayhem fans.
A scoop. A scoop. We'll turn around Bret Hart's behind the Nexus for some reason.
I don't know. Actually, Miz makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In a whole lot of ways, Miz makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that email's kind of turning me on that one. I figured cool since the beginning.
Especially if they've only been targeting the WWE champion with the Money in the Bank deal.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and they haven't gotten involved. Yeah, okay. Enough of that.
Enough of that. Enough of fantasy booking.
Let me do a scan. I'll do this kind of lightning round style. One, I wanted to correct EV 2.0 or Extreme Version 2.0 is what they're referring to the group. Which, why did it is a 2.0 if it's all the same guys?
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn versus RVD is set to headline that. Unannounced, of course, but apparently it's on Jerry Lynn's website. It's not going to be for the TNA title, is the word.
Of course not, because the ranking system doesn't matter at all.
There you go. How'd Jerry Lynn get up there? But this is a match that hasn't been done in at least 10 years.
But you know what? It was so much better in '99.
We'll see.
It's not going to be as good.
Have you seen Jerry Lynn these days?
I've seen Jerry Lynn.
He's just as good.
RVD is 10 times slower than he was back
No,
then.
he's not.
I wouldn't say 10 times. RVD's a different kind of wrestler than he is now. I mean, if anything, I think it'll be interesting. It might suck. Who knows? But I think it's going to be interesting because it's going to be a different match than you saw 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
I think it's going to be the same exact thing at half speed.
We'll see.
I disagree.
Kevin Nash provides a health update. Says on Scott Hall, he says he's home, clean 20+ days, and sounding great. He'll outlive us all. Love you, buddy. From
just like Keith Richards.
Real Kevin Nash on Twitter. Keith Richards. WrestleLicious got booted off of MAV TV and Byte TV because apparently the last few shows they did were filmed at a wrestling venue as opposed to their studio audience.
Right, yeah. They filmed them at an actual wrestling... Well, I think it was actually at a bar, but it was better than
wrestling style venues.
Previously. It was much better than their old arena.
So they've been booted off?
It says that the stations didn't like the atmosphere of those shows, won't be airing them. They're going to be doing reruns, and when they return for season 2, which will be all studio shot, they will be airing them again. So apparently it's a little, I don't know. That's weird.
So interesting side note, I actually watched the new episode of WrestleLicious. It was the first one in that new arena.
Mm-hmm.
The main event was, I'm going to use indie names because I'm not going to use their actual names. It was Lacey and Portia Perez against Daisy Hayes and Sojourner Volt from TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, though, the referee of that match was Austin Aries. And they refer to him as Austin Aries.
Wow, that's weird.
That's interesting. It's the last place I'd expect to see him. So,
yeah, I mean, it's almost as weird as him being in an ice cream mask.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea. Who the hell is Will? Seriously, no one answered that.
Moving on.
But, Sorg, there's a very exciting announcement that DJ Lunchbox might want to listen to and might want to visit me. In Westbury, Connecticut.
Yes.
I may have to go to this show. An indie show has been signed with one of the main events, Mickey James versus Awesome Kong.
Oh God. Oh God.
I may have to go to this show.
Give me a date for that. I might see if I can.
October 1st.
October 1st? Oh,
October 1st in Waterbury, Connecticut. I may have to go.
Nice.
Can we just catch WrestleFan's mom and then he killed his video feed?
I think we did. He cut it like he was turning off porn. WrestleMania special to air on NBC. My grandmother-in-law will be so excited. There's a fantastic article from the Heyman Hustle with Gabe Sapolsky talking about Bryan Danielson, his involvement with Evolve, getting it started, and his first call after being fired. Good read there. Good that Bryan Danielson picks of him with a tie, of course. I recommend that. Abdullah the Butcher was in the New York Times. Huh?
You're welcome again, Internet. New York brings Abdullah the Butcher back to the forefront.
Thank you. And too bad it wasn't the picture with the Dream Machine vest that we're showing off earlier. Shawn Michaels will be featured on, and his wife will be featured on The Experience with Weston and Jody Clark. There's actually a picture on there.
That frightens me. I don't like religious fanaticism shows.
Is that what that show is?
I'm sure it is. If they've booked him and his wife. Yeah. That's the only reason Whisper hasn't been famous in 15 years.
That's true. That's true. Of course, Mike Seidel was injured. We talked about him in length with the girls last week. And the Star Tattoos. Apparently he got hurt.
Speaking of length, WrestleFan.
Bro.
He got hurt in Chicago Ridge, suffered a severe concussion that night. Also, they stated that Grizzly Redwood needed 10 staples in his head following the match. So some close calls there. Hopefully, all those guys get better soon. So is Mayhem Missy in the chat room? Is she crying?
Is she crying?
I just want to check. Make sure everybody's okay.
I believe
she is in the chat room, but I don't know if she's crying or not. The tears may be soggening the keyboards.
Steve Austin was mentioned to be returning to the Chuck. I loved when he was on there before. That was great. Consequences Creed is going to FCW, so expect him on NXT Season 3, I think.
FC Dub.
Lance Storm disclosed that he declined his invitation to the new ECW that is not ECW.
Thank you, Lance Storm. Thank you, Lance Storm, for being the only sensible one in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think one of the quotes from what the article said was that he knows that he retired, and he's not going to try to,
He's the most sensible wrestler I've ever, like, you ever read his blog? Like, yeah, that's the way it's, yeah, okay, yeah, he's so serious.
If I could be serious for a moment.
Let's see, Tommy Dreamer, bitches about an indie promoter on Twitter, that's fine. And that's the news I have for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you!
Sorg, do you like my championship belt?
I do. I also want to ask you, Mad Mike, what did you learn from wrestling this week and or the Comic-Con?
What did I learn? I learned that The Miz is, wait for it, a very nice guy to talk to.
Fantastic. Wonderful personality. WrestleFan,
see what I did there? That's called a bait and switch, Sorg.
That's called something. WrestleFan, what did you learn this week?
I learned that I need to find out where real WrestleFan is and beat some sense into him.
He's in Arkansas.
He's in Arkansas. He said he was in Arkansas. Read the fucking chat room.
But yeah, I actually learned that I think Lucha Libre USA can definitely be something very interesting to watch. Something a lot different than a lot of other wrestling promotions can bring. So
MTV, don't screw this
look
up.
into that.
As far as that, I don't see, knowing MTV, I can't see it being a long-term thing.
Yeah.
So let's hope it's at least, it doesn't have WWE and Sunday Night Heat, kind of length to it. Even that changed every couple of years. What do you got there? Mad Mike?
I have swag.
Swag?
I have swag that I will figure. I grabbed every piece of wrestling paraphernalia I could from the Comic-Con.
Paraphernalia.
Hey, it's a real word, WrestleFan. Learn your fucking
He's
ABCs.
From Texas. Everything has to do with weed.
Yes. But this is the autograph from Eve and The Miz. And I have tons of SmackDown posters from the Sci-Fi Network. And let me just say, they're not shying away from the fact that they are a science fiction channel with these wrestling posters. Because it looks like it's filmed in the lair of Saw.
Man, I can't wait for the return of the ECW zombie.
I'm gathering by then it will be The Undertaker because he's in a vegetative state.
But
I like the zombie. I'm like the only person who likes the zombie.
Somehow I will figure out a way to hold contests to give away all this swag that I got, with the exception of my Miz autograph. I kind of want that myself. But I will find a way to give away. I got posters. I have bookmarks. I have a giant cartoonish Triple H.
Whoa.
Whoa.
It's a giant angry cartoon Triple H.
That's scary.
Awesome. All right, Mav, what did you learn from wrestling this week?
What did I learn from wrestling this week? I learned that if you're really, really, really tall, that pretty much makes you a part of the dream team, despite the fact that there's 40 other people on the roster who, wrestle and stuff. I like just watching that, like, and I know Kali's the face and Edge is the heel, but then when Edge comes in there and says, it should have been the Miz, it should have been, and I'm like, yeah, Edge makes a lot of sense.
Dude, Edge was right.
Yeah, Edge, I kind of wondered that. I learned, and I also learned that, apparently in 2010, Jerry Lawler can wrestle a match with the pinnacle of the WWE today. The people that everybody's afraid of. He can get killed in the match and then finish commentary. It used to be that if Jerry Lawler went out and wrestled a match, win or lose,
out for the whole night.
He was done for the show. That was it.
Here comes Josh
Jerry
Matthews.
would come out with JR. He would talk for the first 2 matches. He'd go into the back. He'd wrestle match 3, and then he would take whatever bump he was going to take, whatever move he was going to get hit with. Let's say a Stone Cold Stunner, and then you wouldn't see Jerry for the rest of the night. He might not be there next week.
Well, to be fair, that's about when the high school's let out, so he'd have to go.
I know Jerry. He's a nice guy. I like the same.
I know. I've met him a couple of times too. Don't worry. I think he'd laugh.
Yeah, it would probably, but
I saw Jerry Lawler at the Gathering the Juggalos when he faced Zach Gallen, and he threatened to cripple his other leg.
Wow.
I mean, that was a high point. That was a high
Jerry
point right
Lawler
there.
is such a fantastic heel.
Yes. So, anyways.
Sorg, what did you learn in wrestling this week?
You know what I learned? I learned something today as I was trying to catch up with some of my wrestling. I probably should not watch WrestleLicious at work. Because all of the skits that they have look like the beginning of a porn.
Yes.
Like
that is entirely factual.
I was like, wow, this is like the one girl is going to walk down here when I'm watching this on my lunch break, and there you
slap
go.
you in the face.
I don't think we should do that, but still. But yeah.
So a weird thing, I just want to mention this real quick. On the new episode of WrestleLicious, I was surprised that they still have Serena Deeb doing those funny like skits as Paige Webb.
Oh, jeez, yes.
I love it.
It's good, but I mean, kind of weird that since she signed with WWE and that.
But WrestleFan, she signed a contract to where that they could air all of her stuff.
Oh, they did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember that stuff was filmed
ages ago,
a year and a half ago, 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, she had hair.
Yeah, she had hair. But it would be kind of weird to still air her stuff, and she's not going to have any more wrestling matches for them.
But it
doesn't matter. I mean, she's if you realize it's the same person, that's free advertising for them. I would absolutely air it if I were them.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
hell, they might even start mentioning it.
Kind of like we were talking about TNA. Stop thinking about like we're purporting this as live event wrestling kind of sport deal. It's television episodic stuff, and I think WrestleLicious is the perfect example of we're not wrestling anymore. They have a laugh track, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
TNA would be better served with a laugh track.
Exactly. No. From the chat room, Riz learned that people on the iTunes comment boards are really dirty. I don't know what he's talking about.
Crazy iTunes.
I don't know. But I don't know. I hope some clean people can get up there and leave some iTunes comments for us guys. And also, please check us out, WrestlingMayhemShow.com. And of course, our appearance over there at birdseyeView.com as well. You can follow us on the Twitters at Mayhem Show. You can give us a call at 412-206-WMS0. And of course, as usual, drop an email with your words to
Good times
at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. I hit the button too many times.
That's what she said.
Of course, I want to thank our guest, our staying on guest tonight, at least, Chris Maverick. Hey, well, tell people what's coming up for you, what people should be checking out.
People should be checking out Cosmic Hellcats, which I was promoting on here the last time I was on the show. It's www.cosmichellcats.com. And my new photography website, www.elseworld.com, which features some of my photography, some artwork by a friend of mine, and some hot pics of some models that I know. So check those out. We're just launching that this week.
Excellent. Mad Mike, what's going on with you?
Well, if you want the whole live feed of my adventures at Comic-Con, you can follow me on Twitter at MadMike4883. I will probably also attempt to do a blog about this at whitevanwithcandy.blogspot.com.
Excellent. WrestleVan?
And I'm at WrestleFan2000 on Twitter and TheWrestleFanRunner.wordpress.com. I actually posted a blog this week.
Excellent.
About my vacations in the burgiest of all burgs.
I'll have to check that. I have not read it yet, but I will be on that. And of course, you can check me, Sorgatron.com. Check out information for all these podcasts, SorgatronMedia.com. If you want to join us live in the chat room, like plenty of people have, there's been some fun going on in there all night. Real WrestleFan, welcome to the show.
If you want to be a guest host on the Mayhem Show,
the chat room's a good start.
let us know it at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com.
Yeah,
because we're looking for any excuse to get rid of WrestleFan.
Yeah, real WrestleFan, call into the show.
Oh man, no, we can't have two wrestle fans on the show at the same
confusing. That'll get confusing. Yeah, Chris, thank you for joining in on our guest GM concept.
Oh my God, we have a Chris Maverick is the guest GM of Raw.
That'd be awesome.
Boom, solved it.
See, I should have just booked a match. Wrestle. Okay, there you go. Right now, Wrestle Fan versus Real Wrestle Fan. That's what I want to see.
I'll go and throw this out for a former guest GM. Hot Wheel says you can see him at RWA Resurrection this weekend. I think it's rwalive.com if I remember.
He will be the one being pushed at larger wrestlers.
Yeah, I might make that happen. But check us out next week. We got to get out of here, Al. We got another show. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Please subscribe to our iTunes streams and blog at WrestlingMayhemShow.com.
Email us at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com or call us with any comments at 412-206-WMS0. We love to hear from our fans, and who knows, maybe you'll make it onto the show.
The Wrestling Mayhem Show was recorded live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in front of a live internet audience, and is a production of Sorgatron Media.
You can be part of the show as we record live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on TalkShoe.com and Ustream.tv.